Thank you, everybody, and thank you so much for staying back to join us for the question and answer session. We have with us all six of the instrumentalists that we heard tonight, and also all of the composers, which is a rare gathering of amazing people. And I'm going to begin with just introductions, right? But of course, if you have any questions that you want to pose to us, you can do so either in the chat, or you could hit the raise hand function and we will get to you, or you can post it also in the question and answer option that's at the bottom of your screen. And so while we're waiting for questions to come in, I'm going to start firstly with our musicians in order of appearance in the concert. So here, Giovanni.
Hello, hello.
Giovanni Perez on flute, and Rob.
There you go. Waiting to unmute myself. Hello, I'm here.
And please tell us what you play.
Absolutely, I play percussion.
Thank you. And Nathan? Who's not here? And going on to Eric Schultz.
Hello, everyone. I'm the clarinetist.
And Ellie.
Hi, I'm Ellie Toyota. I play violin.
And Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire Manfredo, and I'm playing cello.
And on the composer side, we have, again, in order of appearance, Christian.
Hello, everyone.
And we have Ivan.
Hello, saludos, hi.
Johanny.
Hi.
And Gabriel.
Hola.
And Carlos.
Hello, everyone.
And last but not least, Omar Surillo.
Hello, buenas noches.
And we are just about to get Nathan on board. And here is Nathan.
Sorry about that. They didn't. Now I'm a co-host. Sorry, I was here. I was like, no, wait, I'm here.
Our pianist. Great. So, I wonder if anybody has any questions here, but I will get this started, and by just posing a question to all of our instrumentalists first. How has this been like trying to, there's one more person, very important person that I didn't introduce. I want to introduce Angela M. Santiago, our ensemble manager.
Hello, everybody.
So I actually, Angela, you could begin. What has this been like for you, coordinating everything online?
Ooh, that's an interesting question coming from me, ensemble manager, right? Because there's a lot to do behind the screen. There's a lot of organization that we need to do, and with this group, we have been working. Not only the musicians, not only the composers, but in this case, we are working with NEPM, right? And just trying to keep all the communication is crucial for this to go smoothly as possible. There's always this tension of what is it gonna be. This is honestly the first show that I've been on. Just trying to be aware of what's going on, what's happening, and just being on top of, okay, what's going next, and trying to keep in touch with everybody. This is just a lot going on, but it's amazing. I'm happy I'm part of this because I felt the excitement of being in a live concert, and that hasn't happened in a while, with everything.
Over to Claire.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's so many challenges in putting together chamber music when you're in person, let alone remotely. And we would all be remiss without thanking the audio and video engineers, Johan and Antonio, who and also the composers who we're working with, who are giving us extra help in how to put things together with click tracks and even extra engineering help. And there's so many pieces that go into a remote performance that when you have the luxury to play live, you have no idea. But that being said, even though there was all these other pieces, it was really exciting to see live performance, like what felt like live performance to watch with you all. And it's playing chair music is the best thing ever, and so it's really fun to watch, although a little weird to watch yourself play in a concert versus normal times.
Absolutely. And I'm going to throw the question right over to Rob too, because, especially that last piece. Now, to all of us who haven't yet seen the Victory Players live in person, you know that Rob basically occupies half the room by himself with a mountain of percussion instruments. And so it's a particular challenge for him to do this kind of work. Would you talk a little bit about that, Rob?
Yeah, so as you can tell, I'm operating out of, my small little office in my apartment. So things I have to consider is, being a percussionist, you can't own everything. So I got to see what can work, what can I do, what can I substitute, and what can I fit in this little space? Because as Tian says, it's not uncommon for me to take up almost half a stage. And so this has been a really exciting process and a lot of new things to learn. Something that's been new for me is when we're recording like this, a lot of the wind players and the string players need percussion and the piano to record first because our pitch is fixed. My intonation is chosen for me. There's nothing I can do about it. So it's been so fun collaborating, but there has to be a lot of trust. I remember talking to Claire like, hey, I'm going to make these things. Does this sound good? Because I got to record before you, and I hope you're okay with it because here I go, and I hope everything works. And it's been, it's so much fun to play with everybody, and it's been a lot of fun, but it's definitely a lot of new things to learn working in this new virtual environment.
And that's also kind of one of the things for us is that, normally we get to actually meet our composers. That's one of the wonderful things about the residency is that the composers actually come here to Holyoke, Massachusetts, hang out with us for 2 weeks. We get to know what foods they like to eat and whether they like to wake up early or late, and we get to hang out and drink lots of inordinate amounts of wine and become friends, So I want to kind of work backwards and ask, Omar, what was this like working with Rob and Claire on this project?
It was fantastic. I mean, everyone is just so great, but one of the things about doing this piece virtually is that not only was I able to sort of use the fact that we're not doing this live in front of everyone, I was able to use that to my advantage in the piece because I think I was joking with Rob. I think that the marimba ended up playing the entire time. It was sort of as this fixed thing that Claire had to sort of hold on to, But yeah, I mean, it was just fantastic. I remember in the first chats we had when I was still sort of brainstorming the piece, I remember asking Rob all these different things that we could try. And then I even went ahead, I have an electric bass, and I tuned it like a cello so that I could sort of become one with the instrument, figure out, okay, can Claire actually do this? And then I would send her ideas, and yeah, it was a really nice collaborative process.
And I feel like at the other opposite end of the spectrum was Gabrielle's piece, also involving Claire, where, the opening absolutely does not have this rhythmic thing for us to hold on to. And it's interesting just to ask Eric, would you speak a little bit about that? How was that process? And then we're going to bring Gabrielle in.
The process of Escenas, it was a really interesting process. I think going back to our earlier conversation about what's different about, not performing live, as the performer, we've given up so much control, which was really scary for us. As the performer, you get to sit down in a live space and you're in control of that final product. And so, we got the piece, I think January something, and we had a few days really to interpret this music and all the tedious markings, and we're kind of frantically trying to do that. And then I'm glad Rob mentions intonation, because then when you're ready to record, we're like, wait, we need your track first, Rob. We need your track Nathan, because we need to fit in that gap in the tuning between the marimba and the piano, 440, 442, somewhere in there. And then at that point, when we were finally done with all that, we passed on the recordings, and then we realized, oh, you know, it's out of our hands now. You know, it's in production. It's, you know, there's nothing we can do anymore. It was just such a weird feeling.
And Gabrielle, how was that like? Because I remember quite early on, we kind of brought you in to talk to you about it.
I think I was very lucky in the sense that us as composers, we're just kind of in the moment and thinking what we want the music to sound like, rather than actually thinking about the problems we're going to create for the performers later. But Claire and Eric were so open, and every time that I asked them for something, especially Eric, Claire already knows me, so she knows what I'm about. But Eric, just anything that I asked him, he was like, yeah, and if I can't do it, I'll make up a way to do it. And they both just let me do anything I wanted, which is just, I had the easy job, I think.
And I want to kind of bring Carlos into this conversation too, because, you know, it was an interesting process, and it was for us because with Carlos, you know, we were also dealing with unique notational practices that we had to resolve, and so I wonder, Carlos, what was this experience like for you? Hopefully not too traumatizing.
Well, I actually told Ellie and Nathan this, that it was the most strange part was that I get feedback from the players to try this out and see what happened. But basically I have to write, send, and then talk after the fact. And then I meet with Ellie at one time and we discussed things, and she was playing with the violin through the computer. But the balance, I couldn't check the balance of some things that were in the piano and the violin at the same time. So I basically have to imagine what was going to happen. So that was interesting. That don't having that moment of saying it's too loud, it's too soft, let me change this. I just have to imagine and then talk over the video and hope that it will come out. But it was beautiful. I was so glad. I mean, thank you, Leonita. That was a fantastic playing. And but I was nervous.
I'm going to pass this over to Ellie, but before I do that, you know, it's so interesting how this pandemic moment kind of like takes apart all the things that constitute our musicianship and kind of splits it up, and every single aspect is so tested. It's like, you know, what Carlos was just talking about is this whole skill of audiating, of like hearing everything on the page in your head when it doesn't exist anywhere. And especially for this music that we're playing, it's all new, right? It just came hot off the press from the composers, and all of us have to imagine how it sounds like and then realize it, and then somehow have a conversation about it without being able to actually send or hear the piece in its entirety almost ever until towards the end of the process. Just so crazy. But over to Ellie. What was it like for you?
Yes. Well, musically speaking, it's actually a very still and scary experience, much like the pandemic, because you're alone in your room, even though you're technically playing chamber music, and you have to trust your instincts more than ever, because there are a lot of parameters that we're so used to hearing in real time. So we have, and then also it's a good thing though, and you know, of course this has a lot of silver linings, one of them being that we have to be so rhythmically and orally stable to make this work. So it really pushes you to improve as a musician. So that was my big takeaway from this, and it almost makes me look forward to more, because it just challenges you and puts you on the edge in ways that really improve your assets. And yeah, and it's the most rewarding thing where you finally get to hear the entire thing in one piece together at the end of it, which usually happens beforehand. But for that to culminate to all of that in the end kind of makes it more rewarding in some ways.
And, you know, I'm going to pass this over to Nathan right now, because like, I feel like Nathan at the start of April, May, when we first talked about this versus now, has like somehow acquired this whole other side of him where he's editing audio and he knows how to place mics and all this stuff. So Nathan, would you share with us this whole process?
Yeah, well, out of necessity, really, I've kind of just become a bit more proficient at, you know, the kind of basic uses of digital audio workspaces and self-recording and editing yourself. and also mixing, so especially for reference so that you can hear things. Because of a lack of live performance, a lot of the other, the performances I've done generally have been done this way. We record things and then we put them together. And I've had a really good time actually filling that role, like putting together mixes of things. And with Carlos's piece, I was particularly inspired and kind of to make a mix myself, actually, because the piece relies, in a live performance, the piece would rely so much on the harmonic balance between the piano and the violin. Basically, the violin's frequencies being resonated through the piano and amplified. And because we couldn't do that, I became kind of obsessed with trying to find a way to spatialize in the sound her violin with my piano kind of surrounding it. And I think I did manage to do that relatively well. And it just took a lot. I mean, it basically, is a totally different thing from performing and from what we're used to in terms of ensemble balance. But it's so fun in a way to have something solid to work with. That's, like Ellie gave me a wonderful recording and I could just work. And with that, I knew exactly what her timing was in any particular place, and I could perfect the performance in a way between the two of us. Yeah, it was very enjoyable to work that way.
And I just want to bring Johanny into this conversation right now, because it's really amazing how this music, the meaning of the piece was swaying, and I think I could sense it even from the audience invisibly, that people were just kind of like going with the music, how did you imagine this coming across electronically?
So yeah, the first part was trying to figure out how to put the piece together, because I knew it was going to be recorded apart and then put it together. So I did try to make something kind of easy in terms, like you play your line and then the flute will follow the violin. But the main idea was to have this la clave as a guide to the whole piece. And if you see the score, la clave is there in every bar, and it's like a stretch, shorter, or change a little bit, but that's the guide of the piece. And that gave me the opportunity to move through genres. I use bomba, I use plena, I use son, rumba. So a lot of rhythms of the Caribbean, I could put them from this part to this way, and you can feel that change of rhythms and tempo very easy, I guess. I don't know, it was like easy to hear, and you could feel the rhythm and just like go with it, like come in a dance form, I guess, something like that.
And I feel like we're spoiled with Gio, because Gio knows this, and like especially like the conga section, that was just like, oh my gosh, like I almost
yeah,
find it hard
because
to imagine.
That was super fun.
Yeah, because I knew of course I have known Giovanni for a long time. I was like hearing him play all this kind of crazy stuff on flute, and I guess like I want to put a section, like it's like an improvising, and I know Giovanni is gonna rock it. Like he's gonna be amazing at that. So I write like the whole conga solo, and yeah, because I knew Giovanni was gonna play. Otherwise, I don't know if I would take that risk. But yeah, and Giovanni, you did it amazing. I mean, Ellie and Giovanni, the piece was really, really amazing. Thank you, guys.
And that's the thing too. I feel like there are some possibilities here, right? Because like I feel like the amount of sound we got from the tongue slaps on the flute, like it's like nearly impossible in real life, And it's because we are on this Zoom environment that Gio. And can you share a little bit of us, like recording all that, and what was that like?
Well, especially thank you, Johanny, by the way, you made me laugh. The whole pizzicato thing apparently was a topic in both pieces that I played, actually all three at some point. And of course that comes from the usually the key click that you, but when you're live, like Tian said, you can't hear that. So it's like I always, when they say key clicks, I try to amplify it to a way that it can be heard still with the click or pizzicato, but with some more percussive. That's like the whole idea. So yeah, it just was fun. And of course I know that for that, I need to be really close to the mic. So that was, of course, super fun and challenging because you're gonna be like, and then I mean, like closing and not, and it was a super fun process, stressing but fun.
And Christian, you made the very unusual choice of having electronics. Again, taking advantage of this situation, right? Would you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think the reason why I chose electronic is because as we are seeing and we have all seen like working in this digital product, it's that everything is about trust, basically. Like the performers are saying, like at one point, like everyone's work is just at another person's hand. And in my case, I use the electronic as this kind of base for everything to happen. And as also like it's all about like changing the mentality that you're composing. You're composing something that's going to be performed online and it's going to be put together in a different way. So as Giovanni was saying, and Ken actually, as you were saying too, with all the pizzicato, when you're working online, you have a lot of disadvantages and things that you cannot do, but you also have other advantages. And knowing that this was going to be recorded like everyone individually, you can actually get away with a lot of things like real mixing. For example, the pizzicato with the marimba, and because it's going to sound louder than it's going to sound actually in a like hall or in a physical environment. So, and using that and with the electronics, those are things that you cannot get away in a real performance. I think that it's what it's about, doing these online concerts. There are silver linings, as Ellie was talking about. And there are other things that we can do and explore that I think it's just fantastic. And I'm just so glad to get to work with you again. So I'm just real happy with the result, and the whole concert was great.
And so, of course, last but not least, we have Ivan here. And Ivan, we've had quite a journey exploring several different pieces here. Would you and also for everybody's knowledge, this piece, Transmutación Inerte, the inner transmutation, is going to be the focal piece for our education programs for this year, and it's going and rolling out to all the schools in Western Massachusetts and other school districts that are interested. So please feel free to get in contact with us if you think somebody who's interested in this. We would like to hear from you. So please either follow us on Facebook or Google us and you'll find us. Over to Ivan, like just to kind of round up here. How was this all like for you?
Well, I think, it's a lot of challenges. And once you get the commission and you say, and you're aware, for example, when I got the commission for transmutation, I didn't know it was going to be premiered online. And my music usually is very contrapuntal. It has layers and layers and layers and layers because it's based, it's influenced mainly by bomba. And bomba are layers of rhythms and layers and layers and layers of rhythms. And I use a lot of that. And when you think in an online environment, you're like, oh my God, how they are interacting with each other so much and they can't see, oh my God, well, how are you going to do? But I say this because, and I've told all of them this, but I need to reiterate it and echo it and say it over and over again. These people, the victory players, are incredible. I'm not saying this, to just adulate or, oh my God, they played my music, they're amazing. No. These people are incredible. When I got the commission for Transmutación and I heard everyone play, I said, okay, I need to give something to each and every one of them, something that they can show off because they are great, And I bet you all saw Nathan's cadenza near the end, and I was like, well, okay, I'm going to make it hurt, but I'm going to show what you can do, And same thing with Eric.
Thank you for that hurt though, Ivan. I appreciated it.
And, same thing with Eric, when Eric and I, we have been talking for a while. And when this project came to be, I told him before our first meeting, I am going to fight for you and Nathan, because I need to write something for you too. you know. And I remember when you sent the little poll thing, okay, write your name with the instruments you prefer. I was the first one. I went clarinet and piano because you know, their abilities are incredible, you know. And same thing with that duo. I was like, okay, I'm gonna write a fugue based on rhythm because I know Nathan can do that, but then I'm gonna use the whole range of the clarinet in a very tedious and specific way because Eric can do that as well, you know. And basically the online thing became a secondary thing because my trust were on them and I could basically write whatever I wanted.
And that's just so incredible. And you know, I hope this also comes across. This is one of the things why it hurts us not to be together, because I think we actually kind of like each other, like everybody on this screen here. And we wish we could be partying and making music together. And of course, you know, I think this is time, and I just want to use that to send everybody with the best wishes for good health, and that we will all meet each other in a nice concert place where we can have a drink. You can hear some wonderful music. We can talk to you, shake your hand, chit chat after the show, and we can't wait to do that with you. So with a big shout out to Antonio Oliard, our wonderful audio engineer, and to Johan Rashi Vega, our wonderful video engineer, and to everybody at NEPM and everybody at MiFA Victory Theater. Thank you so much for making this all possible. We are so happy to have you here with us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully in person soon. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.